what you know about family. You're a demon.
I'm tired. I'm so tired. My initial reaction to this show before the obviously horrendous topic of the ending is that this show was just plain and simply mediocre. My thought process was that this show was going to be nothing more than a prolonged AMV with an attempt of a narrative thrown in it. And had that been the case, it wouldn't have mattered because this show is not canon and it has no value to the mainline series. The important people involved with the original game and mainline stuff have little to nothing to do with this. Yeah, this holds as much value as this does. And no, that does not equate the quality of each project, it just means that neither one really matters. But it does bring up the obvious ethical discussion and look on consumerism. Is it really okay to dump however much money they did on this glorified fan fiction? That was the big question here. However, the longer that this show sat with me, the more I realized that it is very problematic. So the show is heralded by Adi Shankar, who I have no prior experience with. I've not seen Castlevania or any of his other works. I have no prior bias with him going into this, although I do not know a single person who have actually enjoyed his media. In fact, it tends to be quite the opposite. Especially this one. This one gets a lot of flack, which is why I never really bothered with it. That and, well, the obvious. Netflix. Apparently, Adi got the job because he cosplayed Dante? Okay, yeah, sure. It seems he wanted to make something with DMC akin to the Dark Knight I'm sorry. I couldn't read that one with a straight face. There's no way. There's no way. I don't know how these red flags just didn't come up before. After all, this is a person who talks about himself in the third person because he wants to be like Dwayne Johnson. God, this is crazy ego for someone who seems to have built their career on nothing but reimagined spins on already existing properties. Hell, his next projects are Assassin's Creed and PUBG? So, yeah, this is video game cartoon man, I guess. Bad aura. This does kind of come back to my whole reimagined argument I did years ago. You take a popular, already established work, and lazily, because you lack original ideas of your own, strong enough to stand on their own series, shaft them onto someone else's work and just sit there thinking, yeah, I totally made that better. This show is not far off from that. So DMC 2025 is basically that. Shankar has this bootleg universe. Very appropriate title, which may have connections to his other works. Lovely. Although recently, before he claimed DMC to be part of the bootleg universe, but then recently he's made this post, which is completely contradictory, saying DMC falls under the category of paying respects to the source material. If that's the case, then westernized writing is really just this bad?
I can protect this family.
Like you protected us in the subway.
So, many people originally thought that this series was going to be a prequel to DMC 3 based on the prequel manga, and the early trailers kind of gave us that implication, especially with the rabbit. And then the second trailer happened. Lady met Dante, before the events of DMC 3. That's immediately when I realized, oh, okay, this show doesn't matter. So, sure, why not? Have fun with it. Go balls to the wall as you can. Why not? Keep jingling those nostalgia bait keys with the early to mid 2000s AMV music. So, how is the show itself? Well, while this is an alternate take, that doesn't erase the fact that the version that matters still exists. So yes, making comparisons is a viable form of analysis, but even if one tried to ignore the original source material, I would just plainly hate this series for how bad it is. Having that slim connection to DMC is the only thing that kept me remotely invested. Furthermore, it's a moronic mindset to separate oneself from the source material, even if this is an alternate take, because that's the only way one can try and defend this as being decent, is to shut your brain off like a good little goldfish, and look at all the flashy colors and movements happening in front of you. I think it's an offensive and dangerous mindset to push onto viewers. If we allow our brains to stop working, then nothing matters. Furthermore, calling fans of the source material fake fans just because they don't like this crap is also incredibly moronic and offensive. This show is certainly westernized. It's very obvious, just like the DMC reboot, which, frankly, this show actually made me appreciate more. At least that one tried to bring something original in. The first line from our villain here.
Americans, anything that doesn't fit your narrow understanding, you shoot, bomb, or burn without hesitation.
So did Twitter write the dialogue for this show or something? Don't expect anything like subtlety in this series. No, don't expect any clever writing or anything coded. Whoever wrote this crap really just keeps spoon-feeding everything to the audience. I really despise it when writers underestimate the intelligence of their viewers. Stuff like this is just disrespectful to the people watching. So yeah, a lot of blatant American government bad politics have been put into DMC. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The first episode has Fox News.
The radical left is already using this to push their agenda that America should step down from.
With tech like that, it was probably the Russians.
And this Alex Jones conspiracy radio show, Right vs. Left, and these late night TV gags. Yeah, thanks. That's definitely what Devil May Cry was missing. Politics. This is a very Americanized and westernized DMC. The closest that the canonical series ever got to this was DMC 2, which, love it or hate it, is still the one that most people don't like in the series. It was originally going to be set in New York post 9/11, an idea from the same guy who thought Dante was too much of a wise ass in DMC 1. Yeah. DMC 2 had a whole mess of development with arguments within Capcom, different people being thrown in, which is also why this idea was scrapped in the first place once Isuno got thrown on. So places like Redgrave City, or any of these iconic, gothic, stylized locations from the games. Nah, we're in Brooklyn now. Sorry. It's an alternate universe. My bad. Sorry. Obviously, an alternate universe means that there shouldn't be any sense of a unique style to it whatsoever. Oh, wait. The show feels like it was written by an angsty 16-year-old, except for all the outdated cultural references. The first thing out of Dante's mouth is a Three Stooges and Skeletor joke.
Man, Skeletor did not hold up since the 80s.
I think the idea behind this was playing on expecting Dante to say something and then, haha, he doesn't know what to say. And good old Disney humor there. It's the reverse of expectations. How clever. Oh yeah, Johnny. So Johnny Young Bosch voices Dante. And it did kind of grow on me a little bit. But it's still a problematic factor for Johnny having a very specific voice. It's hard to disassociate him from Ichigo or Nero, but now you have to pretend that Nero isn't Dante. And some people try to defend this as it's a younger version, but that doesn't work, because this is around DMC3 timeline, at least in the character ages. That was still Ruben's voice.
Damn it! You guys totally wrecked my shop, and I haven't even named it yet! You're gonna pay for that.
So that argument doesn't work. The argument of it being in a different universe, in a different world, does work. Just like it did with Tim. Does that automatically excuse it to have bad writing? Not at all. No. But it's an excuse that exists nonetheless. Any of those their younger comments will be ignored because it's irrelevant. But that doesn't matter because it's an alternate take. I really despise the argument that Dante is a dork. Even worse, the wacky pizza man. He's not really that shallow. At all. And frankly, shows misunderstanding of the character. Trying to make Dante intentionally cringe is not clever, nor is it in character. Because even if Dante is being quote-unquote cringe, which he isn't, he does it with confidence. He does it with confidence that makes him likable. He could be the gloomy, depressed fellow all the time. Instead, he chooses to be fun and spunky. When he's literally thriving in this lifestyle, it keeps him away from the bad thoughts. They definitely nerfed him for story convenience, but it's also inconsistent. Unless the show is trying to imply that Dante has some sort of spidey sense, he really just lets himself get taken out way too much. I mean, seriously, the guy who does this gets smacked by a purse and lets a lady run away with a demon disguised as her baby, and just kind of gives up. Okay. And now we're at the White House. And that's right, everyone. It's 2025, and we're seeing a George W. Bush gag. I was surprised too, but I guess that's how you know a millennial wrote this show.
My God. All the last guy had to worry about was Saddam Hussein.
I wonder if they tried reaching out to Seth MacFarlane to voice him. Instead, it's Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. The vice president, who totally doesn't immediately give the sense of being the series villain, is voiced by the late Kevin Conroy, who undoubtedly is the highlight of the series. I miss that man. I miss him. I miss him a lot, and getting to hear his voice again it almost had me in tears. It really did. I suppose now is the time to bring in, and there's this whole argument with Shankar being anti-Christian or something like that. People are using evidence, apparently stuff that was implied in Castlevania. Again, I don't really know his works that much, except that he himself is very pretentious. But there's definitely call-outs to Christianity being bad present in the show. Especially for a series where heaven does not even exist, except for Bayonetta for some reason. But there's very obvious, blatant slap in the face, you have to be asleep not to notice, Christian-motivated, or at least using it as a guise, attacks on foreign land. Huh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. They also put science into the demons.
You heard the doctor. This is no longer a matter of religion. It's science.
Because that's wholly what we needed. It's like watching a scene from X-Men where a Trask-type character is trying to influence the government that mutants are bad. And here's the science behind and why. Oh, that's why. Well, that's just a case of something else that he ripped off.
I already got bioorganic weapons I gotta deal with.
Bioweapons? For the love of God, you keep this man away from Resident Evil. Actually, this whole anti-American politics crap they're shoving down our throats probably would be more fitting media for that than this, for sure. Still though, stay away from Resi. He'd probably try to make the zombies sympathetic and have them be allegories for some other victimized nation, and Leon and Jill are just genocidal crazies mowing them down. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. How nice of them to remember that the anime that actually matters still exists. Dante's favorite shop with Cindy and... What did they do to you? Oh yeah, the show hates detail in its art. I forgot for a moment. The implication here is kind of funny though. I mean, I know the show obviously isn't canon, and who knows what's going to happen in the future from here. But I like to think that even 10 years after this, when the actual series happens, Cindy is still working here. The Shattering Sunday symbolizes Dante's selflessness to help others against his own desires. Not sure why he couldn't have just set it down properly while in super speed, but yeah, it's symbolism. You know what's really funny about this? Ruben Landon, the guy who is Dante, actually did the stunt work for Spider-Man 2. You know, the movie that this scene is ripping off. And this is when Virgil's gonna show up. I was joking! Oh, at least it's a fake Virgil. So Virgil in this one is voiced by Robbie Damon, who unfortunately sounds nothing like Virgil.
We have much to catch up on, brother.
It's not really all his fault though, because Dan Southworth has a very distinct voice.
If you don't want to be trapped in the demon world, I'm staying. This place was our father's home.
So, anyone trying to follow those footsteps are pretty much screwed, like his poor haircut. This isn't the first time Dante's had to kill a fake Virgil. Oh, they even put poor Lucia in this mess. Oh, Enzo, what did they do to you? This is his first on-screen debut for DMC, and this is what... Oh, man. Oh, God. He's like every annoying sidekick role wrapped into one single entity. At least the action sequences in the first couple episodes are pretty good. You can actually see where the budget drops in the show given the middle episodes all have this major drop in quality, like Sparta's design apparently. You get it? It's like the funny hat scene that everybody memes. Saw a ranking reference that adequately describes the series. It took them 7 years to make this show. 7. Lady, why aren't you in school? This version of DMC's Lady is now a super anti-demon soldier, hanging out with all these rejected invincible characters who totally aren't introduced to be obliterated later in the show. And why is that one wearing a scouter? Just like how this guy definitely isn't working for the Rabbit in some fashion. I would say you could predict this entire series within its first couple episodes, but the actual ending of the show is so stupid and unbelievable that... I'm getting ahead of myself again. So Lady is voiced by Scout Taylor Compton? The bagel violator?
Screwdriver, Mommy, you want a hammer? Look at this, Mom. Lori! I'm sorry.
That's also a name I've not heard in a long minute. You know, there's gotta be something here, a point to make about Adi using Lori from Rob Zombie's Halloween. There's gotta be something. Someone's gotta make the joke. A common complaint with Lady in the series is how often she swears. I mean, does she really say fuck that much?
Fucking shit, motherfucker. There's shithole. In the shithole. Demon shit. Fuck. Fucking M-I-fucking-A, whatever. What the fuck? Now, motherfucker. This shit be fucking comfortable. Fucking hell. What the fuck was that? Dumb fucked motherfucker. Fucked up demon. Shit. They don't actually know shit. Fuck. Fucking Roger fucking Rabbit. Yeah, no shit. Fucking stupid. Motherfucker. Fucking Nazi. Why the fuck? Of course he fucking did. Fuck you, Thumper. Fucking window. Shit down. Fuck that. Fucking fucked up and fucking off your fucking cot. Fucked with their not fucking likely. Fucking idiot. Shit. Fucking hair. Fucking motherfucker. Fucking fuck you. Fuck you.
I like how she enunciates words like she just learned them for the first time and wants to show it off. She really is proud that she knows that word.
You see something you like, sweetheart?
And I hope that Shankar is aware that Lady is underage at this point in the timeline. Unless he aged her up for the sake of the show. Without that confirmation, I'm just going off by how old they would be, but the canon counterparts, like Dante being around 19 or 20, and Lady would be about 16 or 17. Another critical change to Dante's character is that while he does talk a lot in this part of the timeline, a good bit of it in this show is trauma dumping. That's something Dante doesn't do. He does not do that. He is not an open book. He likes to keep his grief to himself. I'm guessing they softened him up in this version for exposition purposes. Because if you've watched any recent Netflix series, especially adaptations, boy oh boy do they love exposition dumping. No one really likes to have stories unfold anymore these days. And are we supposed to have the implication that Enzo knows about Dante's past because Dante opened up to him about it? Dante would never do that, unless perhaps he were drunk. After all, this is the guy who proposed to a broom while intoxicated. Lore-accurate Dante would say, nah, I think I'll hold on to this myself. It's in better hands that way, without having to lore trauma dump. Unless he really needs to have a heart-to-heart with someone to get a point across. Like Lady, or Nero. I'll admit, this bit is fun. Lore-accurate Dante would probably just walk up behind them and poke fun at their aiming, but this is also whimsical, I suppose. Rage Against the Machine! Yeah, alright, I can get with this. It's funny because the show is actually feeding the machine. But this is a good song. Maybe a bit biased because I'm a huge Rage fan, but whatever. And the action sequence here is actually pretty fun. Although Dante using his sword like a bat to bonk people is really goofy.
Feel bad. I heal extremely fast. Like a superhero. Not that I call myself a superhero, but your mom does.
Did Dante just make a your mom joke? Ignoring the obvious Deadpool level of writing for this. This is another reason why this is a poor imitation of Dante. Dante is actually pretty classy and clever in his way of insulting people. It's kind of just like conversational for him. But there's one thing Dante would not make fun of, and that's someone else's mom. After all, family trauma.
Did your parents raise you to respect your elders? Huh?
I don't have any parents.
No, that's not what I meant by that. Oh, hey, you! Oh!
This right here is just a major insult to the games and to the fans. Lady retelling the story of Sparta is one of the most iconic things ever in the franchise, one of the most iconic video game openings of all time.
You've heard of it, haven't you? The Legend of Sparta?
Many of us can still hear her saying those lines in our heads. The opening of the game sets the tone and brings in the story of the two brothers in such a simple, understanding way that sets up hype for audiences. It opens this entire world of lore present in this very concentrated story. Here we have this retelling.
Big bad warrior, blah, blah, blah. 2,000 years ago when our world was still connected to their shithole. And Mundus wasn't happy, just ruling the shithole. Hey, This is evil as fuck.
Thank you for poking fun at the core of the game that you are adapting. This is actually the same as this.
Not in a million years.
It's kind of crucial to the story, so maybe try to make it seem like it's important for the audience, at least. Make it seem like the audience should care, instead of making Lady's character more unlikable. This show's take on Lady is not a flattering one. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to the conclusion. And they really thought rocket boots was a good idea.
I've heard it was possible. I never thought I'd see one, though. You're a hybrid. Part human, part demon.
Wait, you think I'm part demon?
Again, another example of dumbing the protagonist down. I would like to reaffirm that Dante is not supposed to be a stupid character. He's actually very intelligent. Nephilim is the term, by the way, that you're looking for, lady. So while Dante doesn't know he's half demon, he took a shotgun blast to the stomach and healed. He has inhuman reflexes. How the fuck has he gone on this long without knowing that? Without having an inkling, without having a thought in the back of his head that maybe he just might be.
Yeah, I've got abilities. Maybe not exactly human ones, but they're, I don't know, some sort of superhero mutations.
Look, there's no part of me that's demon.
Is he actually that stupid in this show?
Jackpot!
And they are severely overusing jackpot. We are only on episode 2. And this was as far as I could get into the show while being sober. So strap in, it's about to get fun. Cycling back to the lady issue. Arkham. Arkham is one of the coolest villains in DMC. You want to know why? Because he's pure evil. Because he doesn't have any stupid, sympathetic background. Hell, his motives are still pretty vague to us. But that's fine. Because we know he's evil. We know what he wants to do. He killed his wife, abused his daughter. Also, he could achieve his dream of being the new devil. This show, in its millennial demystifying mindset, said, hey, what if Arkham was actually sympathetic? What if he was actually a good dad? That's like saying, what if Light Yagami did everything he did because he had some stupid motive, like a crime lord killed his mom? That would be ridiculous. Oh, wait. Netflix. Sometimes, not knowing is actually more powerful. Sometimes, evil characters can just be evil, and it's fine, and it works, and it actually makes them cooler villains. For this fanfiction, they decided to go the Great Value Show Tucker route. Bad enough that this starts out like Batman's parents about to get shot here. Oh yeah, this guy did want to make DMC into Batman. Not to mention, all of this buildup is just plain and simply underwhelming. Obviously, they left Arkham's fate ambiguous for possible future usage.
Are you okay?
Oh, I think my leg's stuck.
Not anymore.
I'm gonna pop a blood vessel. Now, insert DMC 3 and 4 bosses so viewers can point at the screen and be like, ooh, yay, Agni and... what the hell did they do to Agni and Rudra? Their heads are on their shoulders. And the CGI here also looks like rat piss. Hi, Virgil. I just realized they're also doing the same color-coded necklaces like the DMC reboot. Red for Dante and blue for Virgil. Sure. Adi, you are just such a poet, man. PS1 Dante sure does go hard. The consistency of the animation of the show is really inspiring. The bike sequence kind of reminds me of that early 2000s Spider-Man 3D animated show. Actually kind of a decent show once you get past its looks, but that show was also from 20 years ago. The fact that all those demons can fit into that truck is absolutely absurd. And why is nobody in this vehicle that they just ripped off the road? Ah, yes. So Dante could jump through it cleanly, including the window, that they think hides away the poor animation here.
Damn, he's cool.
My friends and I have been making fun of the stupid goddamn line since the first trailer dropped. I cannot believe they actually left it in the show.
Well, I've got you here. What's it like being a demon? Do you have to be evil? Like if someone was only part demon. If maybe their dad was possibly one, but their mom was a human, you think they'd get a choice then, right?
Dante asking Nilo Angelo the question that is literally the question of his existence that he's constantly dealing with for the entirety of his life, fights to prove that he isn't just a demon. But, haha, funny gag on bike. Wow, they really like Invincible, huh? You know, there's actually a valid point to be made here. Ava raising 2 superpowered half-demon children must have been a damn chore. Oh yeah, they're definitely dead. This is called predictable writing, folks. Let's try and make the audience care about these characters right before killing them so we can attempt to tug at some heartstrings. Of course, we all knew these characters were going to die the moment they were introduced. Not a single viewer is surprised. Further evidence of dumbing Dante down.
Millennia.
See? 2 millennia. You really think my dad is a demon from 200,000 years ago?
I think this is an attempt of a joke. Dante not knowing what a millennia is. More bad Marvel humor. I haven't really seen anyone actually bring this up, probably because it's not funny.
What are they gonna do? Form half a Captain Planet?
I let some of the other ones go before, like the Beanie Babies joke, but I seriously don't think the kids who are watching this know who Captain Planet is. This show is so goddamn dependent on cultural callbacks for its jokes, like Family Guy. I just compared the writing in a DMC property to Family Guy. Oh man. You know, for an alternate universe, that scene is ripped straight out of DMC 5. Oh no, I'm not supposed to connect the source material even when they do this shit. Sorry guys. Sorry. Wait a goddamn second. Why can Agni and Rudra fit in a plane? Lady's entire interaction with demon refugees. That's right. Yep. Go ahead and let that one sink in. We'll come back to it. It's just basically this.
Keep you from eating more babies?
What in the name of all the traits are you talking about, human?
You eat babies.
We eat berries and mushrooms, you fool!
You eat babies.
They just turned Dante into a warrior of justice like Goku. Awesome.
He fought against all the bad things so we could be free.
You're right. I am like him. This is a devil trigger.
I am Steve.
Devil Trigger is caused by emotions now, so Super Saiyan, I guess. You see, in the original, he had to be stabbed by... I'm sorry, there I go again. Silly me, talking about the superiorly written media in comparison to this horseshit series. My bad. You see, Dante's Devil Trigger actually makes sense now, because I have no basis of comparison. So I shall just accept that this is a decision that is well written, well thought out, and is good. What am I looking at here? I am tired of these Transformer-ass demon designs in this show. And their CGI. Disgusting. Giving Nero's theme to a Nero-voiced Dante is crazy work, man. Yes, it is called Devil Trigger, but it's literally Nero's theme post Shall Never Surrender. So many complained that Dante never used Devil Trigger in the original anime. Well, guess what? He didn't need to. Sorry if that bums you out, but that wasn't the point of the show. This show has no point.
Then I'll kill the rest.
Where is my necklace?
Wow, everything about this feels like Nero and not Dante. Oh my goodness, the religious zealot vice president is also a villain to the now sympathetic demons? Who saw that coming? It's like this show is allergic to originality. Okay, well hold on now, this looks different. Wait a minute, a past story told in a special episode using a different artistic style. Huh. So, Blue Eye Samurai. Alright, let's do a checkbox here of what we could expect from this episode. Wide-eyed sad children, check. Bullies, check. Ignorant adults and evil adults, check. A storybook for escapism, check. Escapism then happens, check. Demon World is probably going to be better for the kid until it isn't. And the human kid learns that demons and humans aren't so different. Dollars to donuts, this is probably the rabbit, who's gonna have some dumbass vendetta against Arkham. Considering that every close-up they gave us of Rabbit had stitches on his face, many of us probably already assumed that yes, he's not probably a demon. Why is this show so predictable? This even feels like a Rick and Morty episode with this music playing. and there's even a portal gun. Come on, guys. You gotta stop making this so easy for me. I get that they're going for this whole not everything is black and white approach here. There are so many flaws in this story, especially with Sparta, who I guess is just a dick now for leaving all those poor innocent demons to die in their own world. Don't worry, we'll come back to Lady, who just so happens to shoot Dante. This is her second, third time capturing him at this point. He has the worst spidey sense of all time. Obviously, it's because he lets his guard down around her. More sexualizing underage lady. Haha, the song says lady when lady is on screen.
Dante!
There's another contradiction to Dante. In the original, Dante resented Sparta and blamed him for his family's death, evident in DMC3 cutscenes as well as outside lore. It wasn't until his time with Virgil and unlocking his own demon abilities he began to understand his father and his own responsibilities better. That's called character development. In this version of Dante, he just learned Sparta is his dad like an hour ago, and suddenly cherishes him as a hero because of his memory of Ava saying that he was a warrior fighting somewhere. No resentment, no emotional struggles, nor does he really seem to have a brain working. It seems like this show just doesn't have a clue what they want to do with Dante, besides for having him just be a poorly written protagonist. A protagonist who is barely even a protagonist given his screen time, and really doesn't give the audience anything to latch onto or to care about. A different take is neat, but making the protagonist into an idiot really just isn't a good way to represent them. Sorry, I started dozing off. Did the villain unsurprisingly get Dante's blood? Looks like it.
No. I've just had to watch everyone I've ever cared about die in front of me.
I just ask one original thought in this series, one original idea, something creative, do something unique, just something that we haven't seen before. One thing, please. I regret asking this. There's no way. There is no fucking way, dude. The series has made demons allegories to the people of the Middle East, to the war, Middle East war and terror. American armies are invading hell, building factories, taking selfies, blowing up innocent demons that look like this. This is so morally reprehensible. If you cannot understand the issue with this, I hope you can find help. I really do. This is not clever. This is not some brilliant scheme. They use DMC, Devil May Cry, as a medium to critique, well, what we already know. Imagine if Doom made all the demons sympathetic. And all this time, Doomslayer was representative of the United States attacking these beings we see as demons. I know what they're doing. They're making the obvious points of how Americans, United States, see basically any nation they want their hands on as demons, vilifying people of the Middle East as demons. And how did this show see fit to that? To literally make them allegories of demons. As a human being, let alone one who is a citizen of the States, I am embarrassed by this portrayal. I am disgusted by the show's foul, immoral depictions. Jesus Christ. And as a Devil May Cry fan, I'm so very depressed. People are going to watch this show, people who know nothing about Devil May Cry are going to watch this and think it represents something. They might even think it's trying to represent something that matters. All it did was put overplayed tropes into a series that they don't belong in. It's uninspired, unoriginal, just like how this entire show fails to bring anything new to the table. The only thing new here is adding in this subject matter to this franchise where it doesn't belong, and that is why it fails. It destroys the series' tone and turns it into this muddy mess. The show constantly builds things up for them to go absolutely nowhere. The people who actually wanted a brain rot, action, storyless, woohoo Pizza Man cartoon might have been right all along, because nothing could have ever made me predict that this would happen to Devil May Cry. This is what happens when you give the rights to the West. And to top it all off, American Idiot is playing in the background because they think they are so fucking clever. Oh, that's not it. Ouroboros mentioned, and the villain of DMC2, Arius, or however you say it. And Virgil seems to be willingly working for Mundus now for some stupid reason.
The Sapiens and their armies, unaware of the storm they ride into. I am that storm.
Wow, they actually made him say it. Way to remove what actually makes that cool. I'm flabbergasted that he's actually just a walking Reddit meme. You know what makes Virgil the Storm? Him not saying it. His presence does well enough. And using the song here doesn't make sense either because its lyrics are literally for Virgil and DMC5, but this show doesn't care as long as it gets those references in for the viewers who've never actually played a game before and think that this entire series is just a meme. Poor lady. Poor lady, who was once revered as one of the most important female characters in gaming, has been reduced to this. A brainwashed demon racist symbolic of, well, brainwashed soldiers blindly following orders. The show has absolutely zero character development for her, as proven in her actions in the final act. Her motivations are practically non-existent. Character who was once victim to one of the most evil beings in the series, an actual good representation of how humans can be just as evil as demons. Arkham, someone who killed his wife, countless others, as I said before, to become the devil himself. He was Lady's motivation. Much like this show, he is the source of her hatred towards demons. The difference being is that is a far more personal, motivated journey, and Dante actually opened her eyes because they related on a similar family issue. She doesn't consider the possibility of demons having love or compassion because they don't. Sparta was the exception, and this guy. But Dante and Virgil, to a lesser degree, possess human-like qualities from their heritage, and that brings conflict to her. She acts on responsibility, not prejudice, not on someone else's orders or agenda. She threw her name away that tied to her past. She exhibits critical thinking, and most of all, she said this: the character who, at the end of the game, took a human life and felt such pain and grief, but also liberation, experienced such character development that she said this:
The devils never cry.
I see. Maybe somewhere out there, even a devil may cry when he loses a loved one. Don't you think?
Perhaps the most important thing ever said to Dante since his mother's passing. Dante, who is in such a state of confusion, emotional turmoil, allows himself to show vulnerability to Lady, who affirms his humanity to him. Instead, we get this.
I still have to bring you in. Baines was right. With what your blood can do, it's too dangerous to have either you or that sword out in the world.
Lady's ideals are not challenged in this series, except for one instance in a blatant American imperialism allegory. Very distasteful one. I again reaffirm that this just ultimately doesn't seem to matter because she's such a brainwashed soldier. Lady's problem in the show isn't that she's some kind of girl boss like you might see people on Twitter complain about. It's pure and simply because she is not a good character as opposed to one of the best characters ever. One who is actually badass. And not to mention, every time that Dante and Lady are on screen together, it is the worst interactions that these two have ever had throughout the entire franchise. There is zero chemistry between these two, besides for the forced moments, of course.
Ripped and irresistible dreamboat, I know. You still can't just tear a guy's clothes off.
Case in point. This show is not good. It's not just a bad adaptation. That's not the whole issue here. It is not a good show. It is a poorly written mess. It's obviously a poor man's excuse to take a loved series, to use their own pathetic, miserable narratives that no one would even care about if it weren't for the fact that they were using the DMC name. They effectively stripped away everything that mattered, everything that was cool, that had depth from a beautiful series. One that already suffered from so much misunderstanding, from what's the term that the kids use these days? Tourist? Is that it? These people that know DMC by memes and think that the games don't have deep and compelling stories already. Stories that are definitely far more compelling than this crap. Think somehow this creation adds anything to the show when in reality, it takes away so much more. I can't even begin to describe what this series means to me, what these characters mean to me on such a deep emotional level. How much I looked up to the series, all of which apparently makes me the bad guy for not liking this. Because a real fan should be just happy that literally anything is made, because that's the thought process that's keeping art alive, right? Unfortunately, this series exists, and I'm going to try and do whatever I can to forget that it does. Hopefully the Minecraft movie will cleanse my palate, because I have to actually look up to that over this. I'm sure not everybody's going to agree with me. Feel free to have fun in the comments. I'm sure that's going to be great. However, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, as it really helps my channel out a lot. And as always, I'll see you next time.